Hello, everyone. So, I just want to follow on from the last podcast that I did. It was about that internal conversation or that internal narrative that we all have. And I want to talk today about that internal narrative with the connection of business or being an entrepreneur or being a professional, just using what God has given you in what we commonly call the marketplace. Okay, firstly to say everything is ministry. There is no sacred secular divide. That was a completely man-made story, and God is really breaking it down in this season. In fact, I'm loving what I'm seeing. I'm just seeing those walls come down. I'm seeing people begin to realize just how powerful a minister they are in whatever field the Lord has called them to. And it's amazing because we're going to see empowered believers actually standing on those mountains and bringing the kingdom. I tell you, the story is not dismal, it's not bleak, it's amazing. It's the season of called out ones, sons and daughters who know who they are, the risen ones, the ecclesia, just standing up and owning who they are and bringing that into every sphere of life. So we're going to see transformation in the medical world, we're going to see it in the legal world, we're going to see it in politics, we're going to see it in education, we're going to see it in fitness and art and media, entertainment, all kinds of areas, because the kingdom is advancing. Isn't it amazing that we are part of a victorious and overcoming kingdom? And so I want to talk about our internal narrative and how that relates to being an entrepreneur or just bringing the kingdom where you are. So that internal narrative really dictates a lot of how our story begins to unfold, because there's an alignment between our thoughts and our words. And when it's positive, it creates, it breathes life into, and it brings order into a beautiful future. It begins to create that. It begins to give life to that. And you begin to step into all that God has for you. But when your internal narrative is in conflict or in dissonance or disconnect with what you're actually trying to declare, then that fight creates a resistance. And sometimes we get this right in one way, but we have a disconnect in another way. One of the areas I've seen a lot of disconnection is people's conversation, people's words regarding their influence in the marketplace or regarding their business. And because the business arena for so long has been unchurched, if I can put it that way, or kingdom, a lot of kingdom happened within what we typically called church or local church, and then there'd be this divide with, Monday and going to work. And that was work. But now we're seeing this whole shake up, and God says, I'm everywhere all the time. My kingdom is advancing everywhere, and his miracles are breaking out, and he's giving wisdom and skill. And so now we need to lose the mindset that came in the previous dispensation, or the previous years, when church was relegated to parts of our lives, spirituality was parts, and the rest of it, we've just tried our best to survive. So we've got to change the internal dialogue. For too long, we've looked at the world, we've been taught by the world, we understand their systems of doing things, and we speak their language over our businesses, over the spheres of influence God has for us. And I find that we as believers have to change the external narrative, and the only way we can do that is if we first change that internal narrative. So what am I really saying? I'm saying, words like the hustle. Have you heard that? So the new entrepreneurs, they call it hustling for business. That word grates me, because when you're part of the kingdom, you're not part of a hustle. You're not hustling for business. There's a different way to do this. You got to walk with wisdom. You got to believe that God's called you to something great. And as you believe that, and as you walk with God, as you hear His ideas, and as you begin to change that internal narrative from hustle, I'm just using one word, there's a lot more words we could go after, to favored, or to I'm walking in the approval of the Lord. I'm seated in the seat of approval of I'm at rest in God. It takes away that striving, it takes away that forcefulness, and that internal dialogue is so important, because if you really believe that it's a hustle it will be. But if you really believe that you are in the river of God, where the abundance is flowing, or you believe that you're at rest in God, and you believe that you can do this through rest, and you can do this different, or you believe that you have not just creative genius, but you have within you the ability for wealth genius. You are a wealth genius. That will change not just the way you think about it, what you wake up to, but it'll change the way you do what you do. And so this little mini podcast is just to challenge the way you're thinking about yourself as an entrepreneur, or thinking about yourself as a professional, and the way that you are dialoguing internally about it. Because the way you dialogue internally determines what your externals will be like. It also plays a huge part in our collective external narrative. So I hope you understand what I'm saying. I'm going to bring a lot more into this part as we go, because I really believe God wants to challenge the way we think business, challenge the way we think entrepreneurship, He wants to change the rhetoric and the script, and I'm excited about that. I just declare over you the Lord's favor. I declare kingdom perspective, eyes that see, that you will look and see differently, that you will have ears that hear the Lord, that He would give you dreams at night about what you're called to do and how you can do it differently, that He would take you out of the hustle and put you in the seat of rest and belovedness, and that you would flow in favor from that place. So I bless you, and let's chat more about this as we go forward.